All right, how about now? Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. I don't even know why that one happened, guys. I had to be honest. I don't even have the Go XLR anymore. I have a Rodecaster now. I like completely changed out my system. Everything has changed. I even made sure I didn't even have Discord launched when I started my stream.
Let me
I
get to the
only
cubby. Hold on.
launched it after I muted everything. So I don't even know what this is at this point.
Actually, let me
I
just
have
go
to
up
be
here.
real with you. I don't know if this just like Discord mutes you if you're quiet for a few minutes or something. Like I just don't know. Okay. I couldn't be
Sounds
able
like
to
Vinny
tell you.
Pistone right
So
now.
at this point, I think this is just a curse, or it got like hard coded into Discord just to mess with me. I gotta be real. So listen, I guess the meme continues. I guess I know what I'm doing. I swear. Um. Okay. So welcome everyone to our community meeting. This is the first one we've had in a little bit. I think it's a little bit overdue, but we have to have the time to be able to do these things sometimes, and we just didn't have it for quite a while. I do have the time now. The first thing that I do want to declare to everyone is I am now an employee of Loaded, and I
Let's
work
just go to the cubby.
on this project among other creator platform and game platforms, modding stuff, and activation, that type of thing for the entirety of Loaded as of Monday. This was official. So this is a big deal.
Okay,
I think for the server in general, it will bring a lot of things to the community in terms of my ability to have better oversight on staff development, the overall creative vision, what is going into a server on a daily basis, reviewing of what is being pushed, how systems are being developed, etc., which will give a lot of relief here to Smashny as well as the other development leads and the staff team. So this is a big thing. So this should improve things for the server at a point in which we're at a big high point, which is the first topic I want to talk about with the community today, is the fact that we have over the last couple of months a lot of players and people within the server of Prodigy and the community of Prodigy have stepped up in an amazing, huge way. And this has led to an immense amount of interest across the entirety of the GTA sphere and 5M, but not just there, outside of it. And people outside of the general 5M sphere have taken notice of Prodigy. And I cannot tell you the amount of people that I have on a daily basis coming to me and expressing interest to come and play on our server and to participate in our community. And a lot of that and those improvements go to the community itself. A lot of you have really pushed it to make this server a better place, more enjoyable place to play. You've brought RP up to a level that is drastically better than we were at the beginning of last year. And I think that needs some
I'm afraid to listen
acknowledgement
to
from
this.
both the staff team, development team, and the entire community at large. That we have been able to really right the ship in a big way. We've improved our RP reputation in a big way. So congratulations to everyone. I think the writing's on the wall that the success comes from not just me or the developers or the staff team, but it also comes from the community actually listening and executing this stuff that just make this a better place to play, to make this a better community. So good job, guys. On that point, I want to give a couple of shout outs to some new things that are happening. The Rangers have been such a fun thing to watch that we have been able to attract a lot of people that say, "Hey, that's really fun. I want to come over to Prodigy and I want to try that."
There's nothing on Ravage's stream.
Okay, hold on. I'm getting a lot of shit in my chat. It's starting soon. There we go. I have the 1.0 community meeting screen. We can do
There
for
we go.
today. You guys can have that.
Wait, how do I? You mean watch
A lot
this
of
instead?
credit to a lot of the players and the Rangers that are making this a really attractive option for the server. A shout out to a lot of our criminal content creators out on the server as well that have welcomed a lot of these.
You
new creators
motherfuckers
in
asked for it.
arms and have really brought and the game of GTA itself and making them feel extremely welcome. That is not limited to any one gang. There's been so many different criminal gangs that have been so good and welcoming and going along with bits. Like big props to a lot of you.
Say my name. Say my name.
It's been really evident. So I just wanted to kind of champion that win for the community here. So everyone's done such a splendid job recently, and I want to thank you all greatly. It's a pleasure to be here and be able to do this on a daily basis. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. So for this meeting, the things that I want to go over are I have a pretty massive announcement that I'm going to get into to break things off so we can get some negativity out of the way off the hop.
Uh-oh.
And then we're going to go into some focused topics around. I'm going to break down I had a big meeting with the PD
Oh
this
my
week. I
God.
want to go through the state of PD on the server. I want to go through the state of the DOJ. And then I want to talk about the PD gang and criminal stuff. And then I want to break into the next patch, new player experience with
What's
Smashing.
Tail doing?
All in all, I hope the runtime of this meeting is sub 40 minutes, where then we'll take some questions. Total runtime, I hope to be an hour and 10 minutes, and we'll see where that goes. The first thing that I want to talk about today is in relationship to something that today we undertook a massive ban wave across the server. We banned countless people. This is probably the biggest ban wave we've ever done in the history of Prodigy ever. It was a massive amount of work that went into this. Thanks a lot to Sneakerhead and many others on staff that have ground out countless hours trying to put this together. Prodigy has grown immensely from where we started.
Let's focus up. The chat's distracting.
With that came a need for me personally to address, especially within my first week doing this at a bigger and a more dedicated manner, to address the reputation that has been held over our heads for a long time that comes from 1.0 as a shooter and cheater haven. And I think we need to say that the quiet part out loud, that is a perception that a lot of people had about Prodigy. Admittedly, for a while, I think we could have done a better job of dealing with that issue. We didn't have the tools. We were focused on other things. And potentially we deserve that reputation maybe in our first year and a half. But we have also done a lot to correct that in terms of improving our roleplay systems and really hitting down on the culture of people who just really don't give a shit about roleplay and just come here to sit on a block with surgical gloves and just fly in to basically shoot all day long. Or have no personality, nothing. We've done a lot to kind of curb that, especially over the last 6 months. What I can tell you is that we have banned a large number of players today. And you will hear from people today. I got banned. I don't know why. I got banned, dude. They won't tell me nothing. I got banned. I don't know why. I'm here to tell you that these players, they know why. They just don't know why in terms of an incident or 2 incidents. They are banned because we systematically developed systems that, first of all, looked for large variances in terms of soft aiming. We developed systems that looked for variances in damage. We developed systems that looked for people that were far above the cut of other people on a place or a plane that was inhuman. But then from there, what we did is we helped fine-tune those systems with Finny Anti-Cheat, who have worked with us. And we have gone further to look for bans far removed from our server that cross-references with IDs across multiple servers over multiple different platforms, over multiple different anti-cheats across multiple different places. And what we have done is we have uncovered a number of people who were sus on our first wave with everything, and then we cross-referenced the entirety of every major gang on the server, the majority of which, or partial lists of those gangs, in which we have cross-referenced that to see past bans from other servers, and we have uncovered a large amount of people.
Why does Richard have all these pictures?
Different scripts, injections, Yulin, all sorts of things that are completely contradictory to the vision of Prodigy. And we're not done. I want to be very clear. We are not done. We also thought of the fact that a lot of people were going to try to argue this stuff, so we took longer. We started having initial conversations with group leaders that had members within their groups that were being flagged, just to talk to them and open up a dialogue to let them know that, hey, this might be coming. And we didn't want to just ban people as we went. We wanted to collect data. We also didn't just want to collect data. We wanted to make sure that we had these right, and that when we did this, it hit multiple gangs at multiple times, because a lot of people were housing different types of problematic individuals. Let's just put it that way. And I didn't stop there. I made sure that I also cross-referenced this with any of our major streamer groups. I made sure any groups that any admins were attached to were fully cleared. Like they were fully cleared from top to bottom to make sure that there was integrity. I also, on top of that, made sure to do the same to anything or any groups of people that I touched or knew, so that there was no ability for someone to come in and say, hey, you only did it to these people. This was targeted. No, it's not. I checked everyone that you could
it is
touch me
targeted.
with.
The cheaters are targeted.
Anyone could link to my admin team. Anyone that could be linked to my development team. Because we're not playing that game. This is a systematic problem that we are going to solve. Period. We also didn't just automate these. We did manual review of all the bans where we went through, we saw exactly what the triggers that were triggered were. We looked for things that could have been, maybe you were in a script and you blew up a bunch of cars. Maybe you were in a script and, common things we see that
Recon's the only one in our gang that got caught.
An individual.
Recon
we even
malfunction.
have them within our own framework. When someone opens something by accident, or maybe someone gets transitioned at the wrong rate into a camera view or something like that. Those types of things we looked for and we did a manual review. And we're not done. We did a large portion today, but we have a ton more to review and to manually hand review. And the problem is here, and the thing I want to let everyone know is that it's too late for you to hide. We've collected all of the data on all of you over a long period of time. And then what we did is we made sure that we had all of the data on our website in terms of
why does he have all these Mateo?
Linked Discord IDs, linked identifiers across a number of different categories. You're already got. It's just a matter of time.
You're probably going to see a lot of people become shit overnight, chat.
This is my message to everyone that we are not going to tolerate anyone who has cheated,
some people
is going to cheat, or anyone
I think they found a lot of people
has a mentality that is contrary to what we want to have here on Prodigy. If you have cheated, you don't belong here.
Okay,
if you cheated on a roleplay server, you don't belong on this roleplay server. That's it. Period. That is our stance as a community. And this will be unwavering. Period.
I'll investigate this after this meeting.
I think last going off, fuck around and find out. I'm not playing around. And no one on our team is anymore. No more excuses. No more bullshit. Nothing. It's over. Okay. And I know I'm surprised as everyone else that somehow, some way,
why do I have all these pictures on my desktop?
Was not flagged on this list. I know. I'm very surprised too. But I think I need to especially specify that South did not make this list in terms of he was not flagged anywhere. I was shocked. We're working on it and we will catch him eventually. You have my word as the leader of this community that we will catch Ricky Riz. Wiki Wiz will go to jail. We will catch him in the act.
Oh my God, so.
We've all heard about this pro Call of Duty footage that he has that no one can find. And the reason we know we can't find it is because it's incriminating evidence. So if you can find it, please deliver it immediately to me or to Lord Kebun. Okay? Immediately. We both are looking for this. Thank you. Next up. I think this is a good thing, honestly. I know it's a little bit of a stern tone, but I think we need to really...
It's a great thing.
Really make sure that it's clear to people that we are not
has been
going
caught
to tolerate that.
Not only hacking once on an RP server, but caught multiple times hacking.
We were very lenient
RP
for a long time in terms of maybe people change. Maybe we don't have enough proof. But the reality is that we're the only server that's doing that.
And people love to say Chang Gang's just
and today it's
bugging out. They're crying.
PD.
Oh shit.
This weekend there was a large discussion. I won't get into all of the fine points here. But we had a big, basically come to Jesus meeting with the police department and police forces in general that came from bigger conversations of problems that have been brought to me for a number of weeks from different criminal groups and and people who have been had it up to their eyes with a lot of the things going in within the police department. This meeting focused on a number of different issues, but the big things we talked about in general were that PD are denying sell RP on large within the server. On this point, we talked a lot about how a lot of PD just aren't discussing or backing down on charges. They're not allowing lawyers to argue. They're not meeting them halfway. That they are being very sly and dodging court when it's very clearly outlined that probable cause hearings are a thing, and that when a criminal requests these and the court is open, you should be processing the person in the court where they're able to do their PC hearing. And they're not allowing basic things to happen. They're not looking into nuance. They basically are not listening to anyone but themselves and the things they've written on paper. Court cases have been taking weeks. Hot holds have been going on for forever. I've put my foot down on PD that this stuff is completely inappropriate. And I've told them and reiterated to PD that if you do not have the probable cause and the burdens met in the proof at the moment of charge, you are not to charge someone, period. You're not allowed to. Next thing we talked about was an extreme amount of aggressiveness that is uptick within the PD, with a lot of hitting of bumpers and chases constantly, just rubbing their cars against people, like bump, 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 bump. A lot of love tapping criminal cars over and over again, which eventually breaks them down. And the fact that I know that a lot of people are doing this because they know that that fact happens, that they wear down internals, they wear down the body damage with those small taps over and over and over and over and over again, and that it does more of the criminal cars than it does with PD with the ram bars. Next thing we talked about was we've had an uptick in people aggressively boxing instead of doing so when it makes sense at a slow pace. Instead, they're ramming into the sides of cars and boxing them. We've also talked about the very method of playing bumper cars in general. The next things we talked about in this meeting were bad etiquette, an uptick in instant taser usage, that people were not giving grace for foot chases at all, that they were instantly tasing, which is contrary to the things that are written in the PD SOPs, as well as the vision that we have for Prodigy. We also talked about people cuffing people that were no longer in the stun state. And what I mean by that is people who are down on the ground can be cuffed, but when they're getting up, running away, cops were still cuffing them. Or when someone was moving away from them, they were cuffing them. Or if someone is moving a body, they were just walking up and cuffing
almost
them.
dying, not killing anything.
This is power gaming. This is an abuse of that game mechanic.
Not killing anything,
not
almost
allowed.
dying.
We also talked about the default to carrying everyone without
dislike on that video from me.
With the drag system, where they just immediately grab people and just push them around. I need to take 1 second.
Oh my god, I seen this guy recently. Yeah, I don't know what that video was, but it looked like really bad gameplay.
All right. Where were we? Instant grabbing people is a big issue. People need to verbalize when they are grabbing someone. They need to do it with roleplay. You shouldn't be grabbing people when they're like fucking doing a mad dash. You shouldn't be grabbing people for no reason, right? The people should be stopped. You should grab them. You should verbalize it. This is a roleplay server. Good faith belief was another thing we talked about with Tennessee versus Garner. We have a lot of people just shooting people on like very default views of like, without any knowledge of a situation. They're just blanketly shooting people. They held someone up, shoot him in the back. Someone went down there, shoot him in the back. That's not what our police force is supposed to do. Our police force is supposed to be able to articulate when they're meant to shoot someone. Meaning you need to demonstrate that they're going to be a damage to someone or someone else. 52 chains got timed out. Okay, that's some friendly fire. So this is really important for the cops to understand, is that you don't just blanketly shoot people. There is a methodology for this, which is you need to have a belief that they are going to shoot, kill, hurt someone in the immediate future, or you. Meaning if they are unarmed and you shoot them simply because you think they did something, that is not enough. And you deserve consequences for that.
That's good.
Okay. On that, we also talked to police that they are the first thing people deal with on the server. They are the place that people need to understand is got to be the beacon
what the fuck is that?
And the bastion of roleplay. And the quality of roleplay needs to be good from the police department. Meaning that these things have to get locked down and approved, which we've talked about this weekend. I went into much more detail this weekend, but this stuff pretty much sums up where I'm at with this. We also talked a lot about how the LSPD is getting shit on a lot and that they need to be given an identity. For the DOJ, an update on the DOJ. The rebuild has gone pretty well, I would say. But we are now at a point where we need to see significant growth to continue to do what we want to do and operate the DOJ in the way in which we want to operate it. One of the big things that I want to fix in the next little bit is that PD will be required to call lawyers to cells upon detainment or arrest. Meaning that when the minute you decide you're arresting someone, you don't wait till you get to the station. You don't wait. You look and call a lawyer when you're on your way back to the PD or as you're putting someone into the car. Most people ride in duos, so there's no reason that this can't happen. This is very important. We waste so much time with the amount of time that people have in cells. I can even tell you from a personal experience, they've even put me. This is how you know it's bad. Even me ending up in the cell for 2 hours in debate or no one listens to anything.
Oh, I mean, what is that move?
That has to tell you that the normal,
What is he
regular,
doing?
everyday player is experiencing much
What
worse.
is that? What is he doing? Is it
Because I know that I'm going to get special treatment on the server when people know it's me.
some shit like
And
that?
I know that. I have to accept that, right? Especially when it comes to systems like this, that it has to be much worse for normal players. So this has to change. This will be implemented in the extreme near future.
It's called tutting?
I want to give a shout out to
Tutting?
Cole Gordon, the player who plays him, that he's done a very good job with the stack deck against him with the DAO. And I want to give him a little bit of a nod that he has taken a lot of cases and made sure that they're getting put to docket. One thing I will say is that one of the big problems, that we have is that a lot of the lawyers, the civil lawyers, and the public defender lawyers, they just are not. They're just not replying to dockets or scheduling court cases, and this is a massive problem right now. Particularly, I want to talk for server health about the Tenshi cases and those raids as a good example. The lawyer just has not replied to the docket.
Oh boy.
And that's been going on for weeks at a time. And we need a better investment from lawyers and DOJ role players to be more on top of replying to these things on the docket. This is causing a lot of things to go for weeks to a month at a time, and we lose a lot of the lightning of these cases and the interest from viewers, honestly, and from the players at general. A lot of interest gets lost from people. In general, we need a lot more DOJ role players. Right now, we have a problem where we do not have enough judges, and we need judges that understand the vision of Prodigy, but also that have a big personality. They can be entertaining. They're able to read the room. And this is like our biggest bottleneck right now is we can find people who understand the law, but we can't find people who are entertaining. And that's like the big problem we have in Prodigy at the moment is trying to find the middle ground there. It's really tough. It's really, really tough. But I want to put out a call again that we are looking for these people. And if you are one of these types of people, please message me. I'm interested in hearing from you. If you are able to be very interesting, entertaining, you're not boring.
Should I
to
be
be
a
honest
judge?
and blunt, it's judges need to be cool, entertaining, and able to read the room. If you are one of those types of people, I want to bring more judges on. The goal is that we want to have active present judges pretty much all day long. Yes, Iron Mike, you are cool, entertaining, a little troubling at times, but also a big criminal. We need more lawyers,
Yo,
which means
wait, what the
expediting
fuck?
and
That
making
was
the
just
court
now.
much more interesting as well. That's been a big problem that we have. Like I told you with the Tenshi cases, is that we're not moving court cases along far enough or quick enough because a lot of people just aren't replying to the court dockets. We need people that are going to be more vested in pushing things forward beyond just the average criminal case. The next thing that I have here is that we will be bringing back bench trials in a form. This will be happening in the next week, which I'll work with the DOJ and the PD on how to best put this forward. But as it stands right now, probable cause hearings are pretty much universally being abused by the PD. I warned them on the weekend. Many people are continuing to abuse the fact that people are allowed to have them. And therefore, what will happen now is that bench trials are back. Some things that might happen
Ooh.
here, however, is that we might lock down the courtroom with a lot more mechanics so that people just can't be running out and being shitlords, that behavior doesn't continue to happen, that there has to be actual thought put in if you want to do something in the courthouse. But they will be making
I
in the
hate that clip.
point. And there's more to that we'll talk about in a second.
Oh, I can't spam it out.
PD lawsuit maximums. I think this has become necessary.
Dude,
based
someone
on talking
type
to a lot
shit,
of players
bro.
on the server. They feel like
Dude,
there's a real opinion out on the streets if you talk to like
Bro.
different criminals, stuff like that. They don't sue the PD or do things to the PD because the PD are completely unaccountable for anything that they do. So I thought about it a little bit and I was like, what could help give good role play, but also make the PD accountable and the regular members of PD actually give a shit? Because most of the PD are going to sit there and they're going to be like, well, okay, the PD got sued. I don't really give a shit.
Carmine Judge would actually be fired.
Like, okay, sue them. I don't care. And then just go on about their shift. And it just becomes the problem of Cam and Lane and Cole at being like, yo, what the fuck? While these PD completely disengage. So here's a couple things that are going to change. And it's going to spice it up. We're going to see how it goes for a little bit. Okay. So number one is officers are no longer immune from prosecution civilly, meaning that they can be separately and individually held liable. Which, have fun, Hutch. Number one, Hutch, you are fucked. Hutch, Kyle Pred, have fun. You're gonna get a lot of roleplay. Mostly kidding, but yeah.
What the fuck did I just say?
Croc, also have a lot of fun with that because like people will target them with this, and it could
Croc.
be fun, and at least lead to some
Croc
lawyer
is
roleplay,
the most
right?
cooked. All the lawyers he fucked with,
rights violations
Croc is cooked. They're all gonna want to get
are
revenge on
now
him.
per violation, not per arrest, meaning that the maximum 100K is per time your rights were violated. I think that'll be a very good change. Sending someone without meeting an acceptable amount of PC or evidence, false imprisonment type charges. So this is like you can prove false imprisonment is up to 250K now.
Whoa.
I think these changes will
Holy.
do a long way to making PD feel more involved and more responsible for the things that they do wrong. I think overall, this is a good thing.
Yeah.
And this should make people
But also,
take this shit way more seriously.
You're not gonna have those situations
and give some levity and depth to the role play without people having to be fired.
where you're sitting in the fucking cell for hours
We don't
and
want
they're
to be
trying to
just
push
firing
everything
PD to,
that
like,
they
bring
can,
good
even
content and stuff like
regardless.
that.
Now they're
And
like,
judges
well,
will be instructed
maybe I
to
shouldn't
read
do
the
that
room
because
on
I
like
can get sued
SBS
for
things. So
250
if people try to take like an SBS thing that was fully an SBS thing on both sides to court and try to get money out of it to cheese the system, well, you're gonna get screwed by the judge. So this will be a big thing. PD will have to hire individual legal representation. They'll have to have lawyers on their payroll, like civil lawyers, to defend them against these civil actions, right? And I think it will lead to.
Why
a lot
does
of
everyone
roleplay.
have these
this is
fucking?
Also, why we're going to need a lot more judges. And I think we'll try this out. We'll try it out for like a week or two, see what the effect is, and then we will see what happens. Essentially, yeah. So. Lane just messaged me. This should be starting after this meeting in bold, not anything before, or they are fucked. I don't know. We'll debate it. We'll see how much interest there is, and if it's like too much from stuff before today, then we'll say no. This stuff starts today. I think the end goal here, though, guys, is it needs to be fun still. The court case needs to be fun, and it needs to be fun for everyone. Meaning that these things can't go on for like 2 hours at a time. You know, it needs to be more expedited. And these things are for good fun, basically. What I will tell you is that this one way we want to do this to mitigate some of the damage is that bench trials will allow for that civil penalty to be awarded there at a much lower rate before the damage is done. So that it will also incentivize PD that when they get hit with these types of things, that they bring them to bench trial so that the civil forfeiture can be can be greatly mitigated, right? So we will look for limiting those to like 15, 10, 10 to like 20-ish K, right? So that it doesn't go into these big blown out cases all the time that they can be settled in bench trials. The biggest problem that I find happens within role play within GTA, especially when it comes to court systems, is you lose the thunder, right? You need to catch lightning, right? For the content
I'll
of the day
handle
or the
the
content of
fucking.
the week. And the big problem that's kind of happened is that we have moved to a point where people lose interest constantly, right? When in reality, it's much more entertaining if Kevin and Hutch have like this thing and they're planning to sue Hutch civilly. It would be much cooler and better content if both of them were present in that moment and it got brought to a bench trial and it was argued there, you know, and the content and stuff happened in the moment instead of it happening later. And that's the thing we want to really solve here is enabling people to be able to follow role play. What we will not tolerate, however, is people that are being bad faith actors with this stuff. And I will tell the judges to be very punitive to people who bring nuisance lawsuits, meaning that you will have to pay the other side's legal fees plus their time if you bring nuisance lawsuits. So I think this is good, honestly. If it's not good, we'll roll it back. So the next thing we also have, judges will have more ability to compel PD with orders and injunctions to avoid abuse by PD bullying lawyers, which has been a big thing recently. PD seem to think that they have power over the judges. That's not necessarily the case, actually. So I will be incentivizing the judges to use injunctions for things that are applied to them that they can enforce PD to do certain things with injunction, with different injunctions. Cell time processing needs to decrease in general on board. Right now, it's way too long. I've instructed PD that they need to have their shit together. They can't hold people in the cells for a long time. We will be looking at implementing as well time served mechanics. We will look at some type of way or mechanism to count time in the cells so it's not something that's able to be argued. And we'll go from there. Okay. So I think a lot of this is really interesting, and these are good changes. The next thing I want to talk about is the PD and gang issues on the server, or sorry, the gang issues, criminal, civ issues. This is a little bit of a smaller table section of our community meeting. The first thing I want to highlight for people is that we realized that there was a big disparity in terms of rewards on the server. When I had a lot more free time, what I did is I went and I dug into the code a lot more to see what was happening with the rewards and why we're having so much complaints about rewards in general. What I uncovered is that the way in which we were distributing loot was that it was weighted from the same table, which basically means that everything was coming out of the same exact pool. You never had a chance to get like a good drop or like a really good drop every time you did one of these drug runs, which takes a lot of investment. They're pretty difficult. They can be hard to do. They take a lot of preparation. So what we've done is we've changed a lot of the loot tables across the server, and we'll continue to do this, where loot runs, things where you get loot, are a lot more consistently rewarding. So right now, just as an example, say there are 10 drops on a loot table. Now we've made it so that 6 of those come from an uncommon loot table, which is like everyday like material things and stuff that you need. And then maybe 2 or 3 of those are from a rare loot table. Maybe one of them is from an epic table and one of them is from a legendary table. So you get things that are like tangibly valuable and things that you're looking to go towards doing drug runs and other things within the server to do. Like this is a big improvement. This should have been standard practice from the very beginning. This is why sometimes you'll feel like you go and do a really high-end activity and you end up getting 10 different horrible drops, right? And duplicates in those drops is because there was we weren't doing
we found this out when we were
in terms of loot drops on a lot of these activities,
trying to hit the new shit, and we were just getting the same garbage
standards across our development team, which we're developing now. And in terms of like a grander scheme things, like this is how we as Prodigy believe loot should go, because we want people to feel rewarded and the activities that to do that they feel rewarding. So this happened. We introduced a number of drug runs. It's very progressive now in terms of like you will get pretty much the contract for the next higher drug run out of the drug run that predates it. Like, so a meth run should give you a coke run, a regular meth run should give you a crystal meth run, etc. Like that. Smashny can talk a little bit more on that. Go ahead if you want to add things, Smashny.
Basically, right now, player have guaranteed progression from easy to medium to hard to a light to crystal and coke. And also we are using that system already in trap houses, and we are converting more scripts to use that new systems. And we are ditching the old way we used before. That's everything we can say.
Perfect. The next thing we did, do you want to tell them about trap houses, Miss Smashny? But by the way, I decided to invite Smashny today because I have more time to prepare for these things now and to invite people that you may not always get to hear from in
What the
voice,
fuck is that?
like Smashny, who do a ton of work on the server that you guys can get to know a little bit better instead of just hearing my old ass.
Dude,
sit
don't
up
give away
here
my smacks like that.
And just talk to you for 60, 70 minutes at a time over and over again. So go ahead, Smashny. Smashny does a lot. For you guys who don't know, also, so it's a proper introduction. Smashny does a lot of work here. He started doing like UX design, like all of the different visual elements you see on the server. Like Smashny has done the graphical, basically design of it, and has given them to like developers like Xblow or Yule to then put into the game. And then Smashny then expanded to doing a lot of things on the server, like the gameplay loops, like the loot loops, like almost all the loot stuff that you go into and how much it drops. Smashny does most of that stuff. So
Yes.
go ahead, Smashny.
So basically, we have the new tables, and we are improving the trap houses with the feedback we received recently. So trap houses now warn you and give you a clear area where it's happening. You don't have to look the whole little cell, for example. Now you have a clear place where it's happening, and also it's draining if you're not gonna defend. So if you see that message, please follow it. Since if you're not gonna follow it, your map is gonna quickly decrease. We're right now taking 5% of your current points, which could be a lot. So that's about the trap houses right now, and we are working on new things, but I'm not gonna talk about that. So we can go to the new player experience.
Sure. Basically, the TLDR here is that trap house keys drop more than a limited amount per server
That's good,
restart.
though.
They last longer.
If you don't defend your
and
shit,
it
there's going to
takes
be
longer
negative
set them
effects
up,
to it,
basically,
which makes
so
sense.
that there is a chance that counters
Someone's
that happen naturally at trap houses. Also,
going
there
on your
is
fucking turf.
one alert that goes out to a gang member. If a gang has over 4 people online, they are going to be chosen as the drop spot. For one of those gangs will be chosen as the drop spot for the item that's going to be dropped. So it's a lot better for making sure that, you know, it's a real opt-in system. Basically, before we had gone with the idea that if people drop there, we want a more organic conflict, but it wasn't happening. So, and that was a big complaint. So we'll see how this goes.
Yes. New player experience. We received multiple reports and feedback that it's hard to start on server. It's not easy to pick up the server. So we are making a lot of changes for the new players, and we are improving how we onboard players to the server. And we are making your first day on Prodigy better. That's what we are trying to do with the new patch.
Yeah, this is a big project I set upon as I knew when I was going to be going full time that this is a weak part of our server. You guys might have seen me around a lot more on Ghost. The goal of that was maybe threefold. I wanted to see if the experiences that people were experiencing on Criminal, if I'd experienced the same thing. I did on large part, and I knew that if I experienced that at the same level they did, that it was likely a big problem on the server, because I have to realize my position on the server and how that can influence how people look at me. The second one was to see how the new player and gang experience was on the server, and it's hard out there, to be honest. You know, I have a fairly big group. A lot of them are potatoes. They're potatoes, but they, you know, they're nice potatoes. You know, like put them in a blanket. You know, you tuck them in. They come out and they look goofy, and you know, they're adorable. You know, they're precious. But you know, I saw very closely that it's very hard to get ahead. Right?
We have a couple. We have Richard in our
terms
gang.
of,
We know what he's
being
talking
able to
about.
get materials. It's a real grind without much direction. It's tough to understand. Even the new player guide that we have when you start in doesn't give a good explanation of like the stress system and a bunch of other things that are like really important. And it doesn't give you a good roadmap or or idea of like how the server works, I still wouldn't be able to tell you from a new player experience that I don't think I've ever been told like where a starter bench is to be able to craft things for criminal stuff. And these are things we need
I don't
to
even know
solve.
where that shit
We
is.
also need to find better repeatable game loops that don't put these newer gangs into consistent conflict, because right now one of the big problems that a newer gang will have is access to pistols is very tough. Access to money outside of, I mean, the Eco Boost was a
Look
very
bad.
good start, but being able to have like basic access to the things that really skew the deck for experienced gangs are like cocaine, which is $10,000 a brick right now, or the fact that so many of the bigger gangs just have all of the class 3s and none of the smaller or like boutique gangs are able to get their hands on them. There's also problems here in terms of like meth distribution, weed distribution. It's hard to do deals on the server in terms of affordability for newer gangs as well. Like it's almost impossible. So these are things that we're looking at right now and how we can improve the starter game loop and the experience for new players. So that's a big thing we're working on right now, and it's a project I've put to a lot of people within our dev team. The next thing I want to talk about is conflict on the server with a lot of gangs right now. One of the big things that we've seen that's become more apparent recently is there's been a lot of flying in of shooters, which is what precipitated our investigation so heavily over the last month in terms of bans, and getting to that point of investigating those so thoroughly was the flying in of shooters. Do not name gangs in my chat. Delete those. So the reality is that flying in shooters is anti-role play. It is against the very core of what Prodigy is. And
we
it is
fly in
completely
anti-shooters.
inappropriate. And
We
going
don't have a full
forward,
squad.
we'll be
I get
implementing
stuck
a
with
rule
like
that
Richard,
says very
Boteo,
clearly
you know what I mean?
that if you participate in anything that would fly in shooters in general, this will lead to you
Paris.
also being banned. Because it's become a massive issue within our server. You just can't fly in shooters. You just can't have people fly in for conflict over and over again. You should go to war with the people that are in and day out. We will be banning these people. Period.
This is another W.
This has become a big issue across the server. Next big issue we've seen that's become very apparent over the last little bit is the picking of houses. There's a couple of behaviors I want to point out for a large portion of the player base that we know that are happening. And we're narrowing in on detection with this, just so you know. We have a good idea of who's doing it versus not, but we do know that there are people that are plugging in drawing pads and tablets to complete the Osu lockpick minigame to be able to
that's not
simply
Suarez,
pick
though.
the
He doesn't
house.
do that.
This is completely inappropriate. This will not be acceptable at all when we figure this out. Who you are definitively.
Suarez
we'll be taking you in and scolding you. If you're using an outside tool to aid you in terms of a role play house lockpicking, then you need to be dealt with. On that note, we're looking at ways to improve house breaching in general, because right now it favors a top level of people that just go and basically are being free agents, and it's borderline fail RP at this point, where people are literally going to kidnap the only people that can do these things and bringing them to go and bring them to houses. So we'll look at better ways to do this. We need to limit this at the moment. And I want to be very clear that we have a no pocket wiping rule, which also should pertain to houses, guys. Foundation wiping someone is not acceptable on the server. And a lot of people are doing that.
Me to lockpick Hades.
I know a lot of people are going to default to a recent
happened?
occurrence. I'm not talking about that one. I'm talking in general. There have been a number of foundation wipes that happen on the server, and we have been banning people for them, and we will continue to do so. Do not foundation wipe people. This is contrary to like fair play in general. So please keep that in mind. If anyone has any ideas on how to better deal with house robberies, as the breaching system obviously was not great either, we're open to hearing ideas. This is something that's in discussion right now with the dev team of what we want to do with it. We'll likely be disabling picking outside of for police for the next little bit in the meantime. Okay. Next up, in terms of war and conflict, I want to remind everyone that we have new life, the NVL rules. We also have certain new life rules that were implemented not long ago. If someone puts a gun at your back, put your hands up. Very important. If I have a gun on you, put your hands up. This is not a 100K or die server.
I'm good.
You don't draw, do a combat roll, shoot someone. That's against the rules of the server. Report these people. They're getting banned. Period. Next thing
I can
with
win the
war
1v1.
stuff that we've been seeing a lot recently comes down to people consistently not cooling down, right? If you are being shot down and immediately showing back up, or if you have shot people down and then you're immediately coming back for conflict within like the 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, you are breaking the server rules. These are all called out here. And people need to realize that these are big parts of our server. People need to follow these. Okay. I think I've got most of the big issues out of the way. I think it's time we talk next patch, which is in the coming future. And some necessities that we need to figure out for that patch. The next patch that we have is going to focus a lot around, we've done a lot around crime, but now we're going to be around crime and punishment. It's going to focus on a completely redone prison system in which we have done a lot of work to make the prison system more interesting. We've put a lot of unique systems in the prison to make the criminal world follow you into the prison, and the ability to do criminal things at a heavy benefit within that ecosystem.
Why does
we
Anto
tried
have
to
these? What the fuck?
look at the prison in a way of we want to make the prison its own server, its own ecosystem, right? Completely. It should have its own gameplay loop. It should be its own thing, which is something that'll be coming in the very near future. With that, though, DOC needs to be present on the server in a big way. And what I need is someone who is going to be able to put the time, dedication, and be responsible enough to give an amazing roleplay experience and training to the people within the DOC. So I'm looking for someone to do that for us at the moment. And if there's anyone out there who is able to tick those boxes of being fun, entertaining, able to read the room, I think I am very open to hearing from you in general. So with the next patch as well, we'll be implementing a number of extremely unique systems that will change the gameplay loop of the server, including a gym, which will incentivize player businesses in different manners with different link ins, and will be very cool, very entertaining. We also will be implementing some other things within this patch, like boxing. Like we have made our own unique boxing system as well, and we want to ship this patch within the coming week, 2 weeks.
Fight League coming soon
Is what we're looking at the moment. And this also introduces some smaller criminal systems as well. A new drug will be implemented as well with this system. So we have a lot of interesting stuff coming in the very near future.
Don't want to mention too much.
So look out for the trailer for that. And if anyone's interested in DOC, please let me know. Anything you have to add on that, Smashny?
Wait, did he mention anything else with the fighting?
No. I'm
okay. Yeah, he didn't tell you. I don't want to say.
I'm not leaking anything.
Oh, steroids, yeah, that. But there's also more in depth to like training and
Kelly's Polish
physical abilities. I think.
So the last thing I want to talk about is the two last pieces is COC and businesses. I also am finding it tougher at the moment to be able to manage this on a daily basis. The problem, candidly, we've had with businesses, and I just want to spell this out for everyone to understand, is that we've had it's very hard to find someone who has a good read and gauge on like who should have these businesses. This has been a big problem on Prodigy that we've really struggled with this and being able to remove the businesses when they've been a problem, right? We've done a bad job at auditing. This is something I'm also looking to solve. This will be something that will be within my first 30 days, I believe. I want to solve some of these more of the food businesses that are not actively engaged on a daily basis more immediately. And the dealerships is another one I want to make sure I solve. But I am looking for people that have extremely good judgment here in terms of do this on an auto character level. And it is very necessary that this has to be done on an auto character level. And I want the community to understand that a lot of people go, why isn't this done in roleplay? Why does this do roleplay? Blah, blah, blah. sometimes there's some things from a server health perspective you can't really do in roleplay. All right. From a completely
That's
server
true.
health perspective, doing something through roleplay when it comes to businesses is very tough, because if people just aren't meeting the roleplay standard, how do you say that from an in-character perspective? How do you go up to someone in character and try to say you are not meeting the roleplay standard that we need for this business to operate correctly? We need to be able to seize businesses back as the state. That is an incredibly important thing. And I know some people
They should
don't
flip the
believe in that.
businesses up. Like
But the
80% of
reality
the business should
is
be
that
flipped.
we have to have that mechanism, and we have to have some level of control there. And this is just how it is. I'm sorry to say that, but it is what it is. You know, like, we have to do that, and it's just like with PD or other things. These things need to happen. We do have a certain amount of development time as well. I want to let you guys know that is put to the side to be able to develop roleplay businesses as well. That exists on the server. Now, in the development team, that we are placing so much development time towards maybe a business or two original businesses that we can put in, and we're putting a lot more focus on making things player business focused, with the ability to open up later if people fail or we can't find someone to do it. So this is a focus for our server. Like, we do want to see unique ideas. The problem that we deal with businesses a lot of times is the ideas we
TG
get
More Club
are
was
not
fire,
unique,
right, chat?
but they're not good. And people oftentimes just make a Canva or a PowerPoint and hand it to us. I have to be really honest. I don't care about that at all. Those
That
are
shit
useless
doesn't
to me.
matter.
And some people value those very heavily. Like, I know, like, Leah and Nash were like very big on those. I really don't see the value in those.
Yeah, there is no
at
value.
all. But they
Doesn't
feel to me
matter if
like
you can
people expect
role play
to
it.
make a PowerPoint,
Make
and
it
get an
fun.
in-game character
Make it a
business,
part of the
because that's, like,
environment.
people
Not
used
if
to
you can make
hog
a
out at that
crazy
stuff back in the day.
spreadsheet
We're like,
or
oh
fucking
my god, they made this whole
PowerPoint.
PowerPoint. That's
Yeah,
so
exactly.
cool. They put so much work into this.
Means
Oh, I'm
nothing.
sorry, half that shit's AI generated. It's 2025. And the reality here is that what I want really is I want really strong, good role players that I can see that can tell a story. And if I can find those, I'll give you a business. And that's the problem we have, is that we have so many people that don't meet that criteria, that clog up
Busking.
the pipeline with shitty fucking Canvas and PowerPoints.
I forgot to
And I gotta
mention
be
that
honest,
to him.
I really don't give a shit about those. So I
Oh,
just
no, I
want to
did
be
tell him
very
about
blunt
busking.
that that's the problem we have with the businesses right now, is that we want good role players. We will reward good role players. I do not give a shit about your Canva presentation. I have to be honest. And I want people to really pivot to that. I want people to clearly understand where my vision is before that and what I expect for people to do. So I will look for people to help me with the business stuff on a grander scale soon. But what I need is people with very good judgment that can identify people who are very good role players, who are going to put the work in and actually do something with it. And that is paramount for me personally. So just so people understand, I'm not trying to be mean. It's just those are who businesses should go through. You know, you should go to people who are strong role players, because you make up the DNA of the server. When we put people in positions of power like that, they become the fabric and DNA of the server. If we put Johnny Grinder number 215 as the owner of every business, that's going to be a problem. And then that defines the culture of our server. And I can't let that happen. Okay. The last thing that I want to focus on is my first 30 days here in Prodigy. In terms of being full-time. I want to rejuvenate and refresh the staff team. I want to build out a full event support team so that things like factions and all these things are less burdensome on people like me, who come in to be the face and the storyteller. People who can be architects to build out missions. Because, right, we have a cool ability to build out missions on Prodigy, where you can place props with our system. You can put hacks and all the hacks we have on Prodigy are on a list on when we place something in the event menu, where it will let you put a hack on it. Like, you can do really cool things to set up missions for people, right? We can place peds with different characteristics, with the ability to shoot, to be aggro, whatever. We can do all of these things to a very high level. And we don't just need people to come in and place props down.
I think
what we need in Prodigy is people that can come and be architects
Bobby
for
Porter
quests and fun,
is
and to help people
I couldn't do events, chat.
assist
When I heard about that, I was like,
dungeon
oh,
mastering
shit.
process I'm
very interested in what Bobby's gonna
quests,
cook up.
and to enable and make all the gangs on the server feel like they're
W
heard,
fucking
they have
Bobby
value,
Porter.
and push forward their story. And for me, that's been the vision of Prodigy since the very beginning. It's just I very much lacked the time and at times the support to do it. So what I'm doing is I'm calling to the community here. What I'm looking for out of all of these applications right now is I'm looking for people to help with discipline, of course, and tickets and that stuff. But what I'm also looking for is I'm not looking for someone to go and put props down for the 15th rave of the week or the 15th concert of the week. What I really want here is I want people who want to help people tell their stories. I want people who are going to come and help me enable every gang on this server to make everyone feel heard. That's what I want. I want to give back to people who want to push their stories forward and make some fucking cool shit. That's what I'm looking for. And I think that really needed to be defined here with the community meeting is that I want those types of people. I want to enable you to help me give these people some badass content. So that's what I want. So if you're that person, apply for the event role. That is what I want. I've picked out a couple of good people so far, but I've denied a lot of applications that were problematic or whatnot, or just weren't a fit. But I'm still looking. I'm looking every day. I've reviewed everyone so far personally. On a personal level, I've reviewed all of them. So, and to the people who didn't get selected, not personal. Sometimes there's just the factors that make it not a good fit. You know, whether that's ban history or things that have been said on a stream in the past or just things that would be controversial. Like we just try to avoid anything that's going to rock the boat too much with our staff team. So that's a big thing. Okay. I want to get that going. I want to have a badass event team. I want to rejuvenate the staff team to give it more energy, more active bodies to do reports, to get tickets going. I want the community to feel alive. That's like number one. Number two is I want to make the current faction storyline have an amazing send off and end as we build into the next season of factions, where we've learned a lot and we've built a lot on, and we'll build a lot on the systems that we've done before. We have learned so much from this. This was an experiment, and I think it went well at the end. It's tapered off because people have had less time, but we've learned so much in terms of just the number of factions that you can have, the amount of storytelling you can do, all of that. We've learned so much. That's number two. I want to make that fucking badass and give a lot of cool,
Yeah, where the fuck are they,
missions
Steven?
and make that go and push forward. Including rewards. We need to do a lot better with rewards, which we've already started on. Me and Recreations and Alvar have already been cooking on all the 3D aspects of the next faction push. So we've been really pushing that in a big way. The next thing that I want to focus on at my next 30 days is to get the development team into a point where we are much more organized and able to iterate things a lot quicker. Number four is I want to build out heavily our 3D team and environments team. This is one of our weaker points on the server. I'm going to be looking for a lot of 3D
Which is
artists,
funny he
3D
says
development
that
artists
because
to
they
help us
pump out
push
tons of new
our
shit.
3D and creative
3D
stuff to the
environment
next level
wise.
because our development and systems are pretty cool. I think the thing that where we lack is our ability to put cool things and environments and stuff in the server at a quicker pace. And this is something that I'm going to be really focusing on in the first little bit. The next thing is going to be making sure that we have an active and healthy community for civilians and ecosystems for civilians to feel like they can contribute and have fun within the server. And then also the next thing I want to do is to make sure that the DOJ and PD are into a point where they're able to push and move things at a level that is expedient for the role play, that makes things fun and exciting, so we aren't waiting for weeks at a time
Which one's
to
Padrino?
fulfill storylines and see things come to fruition. And then last but not least, I want to make the racing scene fucking cool with really good role play, with strong role players enabled that focus on those things. I've had people hit me up even in the last week since we've had a lot of these conversations, including like really cool people who do this stuff
soon.
in real life.
The
right? That do racing
Romero quote, see you soon, boy.
Do it in real life. That would be really cool to bring in. And those are the types of people that could really bring some energy and fun. And like, they know this shit, you know, they know it in their core, and enable the racing role players, the role players. There are racers on our server who role play every day to enable and uplift them. Those are the things I want to do in the first 30 days.
Beautiful.
I think all of those are obtainable. So if you're a cool ass fucking judge, if you're a cool ass lawyer, if you're a good role player who loves businesses, if you're someone who wants to go and enable people's stories and make cool ass quests for them, if you are someone who is a 3D designer who loves to make cool stuff and have a lot of creativity, you work hard, fast. If you are someone who wants to do anything extremely cool within Prodigy, now's the time. Our server is doing so well, and we're going to continue to push that way. And we are going to build out this community wider and wider as time goes on. And I'm so excited to be here. I have so many cool ideas that I want to do for a long time that I want to push here on the Prodigy ecosystem and beyond for 5M and beyond and beyond and beyond.
The problem is
I
people will
think
take these
there's
spots
so
too and then just
much
disappear.
stuff we can do with the resources.
Chat, if
that
you were
we
interested
have,
in this shit
and
too,
I'm extremely
you can reach
excited.
out to these
And I'm
people.
inviting all of these people I've mentioned and asked for on this journey.
But
I
only do
think
it if
is
you're going to be
to
fucking
amazing.
consistent.
So that is my message for the day, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to open for at most maybe 15 minutes for questions. You know how it works if you've been to these before. You write your question, you tag me in the town hall chat, which is the voice chat, the text chat attached to this, and then we'll talk. And yeah, if you can't tell, I am extremely excited and I'm passionate and ready to hit the ground running with this with all of you guys. And one of the things I'm most excited about is the fact that I have the time to be creatively free and to talk to people. Oh, and also I have a nice bonus code before we open questions for all of, we have 15% off. If you guys don't know, all of our Prodigy faction t-shirts for 2 hours from our friends over at Ludacy. If you guys want it, it is going to be, the code is PRP Chat Club, just so you guys know. And that'll give you 15% off. They're really, 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 really cool stuff. So go ahead. It supports the server. It helps support us to do more activations like this in the future. And we would appreciate anyone who can, who wants to go. And maybe you'll be able to rock it and hang out with us all at TwitchCon and wear your Prodigy shirt. I don't know. I'm just saying. So go ahead. Any questions from the chat? I'm going to put the code in there for 15% off from Ludacy. You guys can use it. But yeah, go ahead. I'm going to start bringing some people up here for conversations, and anyone who has anything. Where's Hutch? Hutch isn't coming up here to yell at me for the... Oh, he's probably playing Battlefield.
There you go. Get the merch if you want, chat.
Let me invite you. That's a good question.
Hi, Ravage.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going pretty well. This is passed along mainly from Larry Douglas because he's a damn good lawyer, but lawyers that go down to the cells get their clients off completely like they walk. They're not paid anything. Is there any way to maybe get them paid, maybe get a budget from the DOJ or from the state, or just some way that they can still get paid for being good at what they do?
That's good, and I don't think I've ever considered that. So, Smoxley, how can we do that? Oh, yeah, why aren't we charging clients? Actually, now that I think about it, like, why aren't people charging the people in the cells for the service?
Probably because oftentimes it's if you can't afford a lawyer, one will be provided for you, and there's no way to tell at that exact moment if they are able to pay or not. So because they get 1,000 if they're sent off, but they don't get anything if the client walks.
Yeah, I guess you're still not hearing me. Like, why aren't lawyers charging clients? I think that's the thing that I'm having a real hard time here with, is like every server
Lawyers
I've
should
ever
charge
played
the
on
client.
where I did lawyer roleplay before, I always charged the clients. I took retainers, I got money, because you just save them a ton of money, right? In a lot of these cases. I guess that's what I'm trying to understand. Like, I'm not trying to say your opinion's wrong by any means, or that we don't need it.
No,
I'm
I
just trying to understand the problem.
Yeah, no, I understand. It's just it's just a concern that I've seen, that lawyers that are really good, they don't get the standard 1,000 that lawyers that, their client gets sent off get. That's all.
I got you. Listen, if you can bring me like a better reasoning of why criminals can't pay, right, or why they can't afford it, I would love to hear that.
All right, works for me. Thank you.
But you can do that and hit me up later. Okay, sounds
Will
good.
do.
And we can talk about it if you can't think about it right now.
Yep.
Okay.
Not a
Thanks,
bad
dude.
question. Okay, what else we got?
I have a question about the recent protections. We've done a lot with the recent DDoS attacks. I think people need to realize the levity of which. What was the highest one, Smashny? Is it maybe Miatex here, or maybe even Monkey wants to talk and explain a little bit in the mitigation. because he'd be the best one to understand what he should say versus not. I don't know if he's around, but maybe we can
Monkey
bring him
was
up to
around.
talk. Yeah, if Monkey wants to come up, he can. We can invite him up and he can discuss it. But I don't. Well, it was actually more than that. Logical. The recent ones that we've mitigated. Okay. So if Monkey wants to come up, we can invite him up here in a little bit because he'll know exactly what we should say versus not. And I don't want to say things that put us at more risk. To be honest with you, because yeah, I don't want to be the mouthpiece that messes up.
I'm gonna mute myself.
Yeah, Smashly's gonna mute himself, but yeah, Smashly, if you see that Monkey wants to come talk, he's more than welcome and invited.
He's a different monkey.
Monkey, if you wanna just request no wheel.
Alex Grease has a question on COC. We'll bring him up.
Or maybe it's not. I don't know. I think it is. We're about to find out when we hear
Hey,
him.
I'll bring him up as well. Hey, how are you doing?
Not too bad. Basically, I know the business process before was the council, then the mayor, and then it went to the COC, which was just you and Leo, right? Is that still the same process, or is there a whole different process now?
No, that's the process. It goes to Leah, or yeah, it goes to Leah right now. If you bring it to Leah, it gets to me eventually. She put it in a thread for me to review. Mostly, I haven't gotten anything in a while because I think she was on vacation or in and out of vacation or something. But yes, that is the current process. But I want to change that. I want to have more people that are involved in that process, so that and there's more auditing going on. Originally, the state's attorney's office was supposed to have Scam, which is supposed to be the ones investigating that stuff, but it didn't work out that way. So, yeah, there needs to be more of that shit going on, and maybe even the business regulations need to be redone entirely and done from a more RP lens, because it was to correct the problem at the time that I don't think any longer exists.
Okay, I just wanted to double check because the last council, I put a business proposal in with them and heard nothing back, and then the new council got
Yeah,
voted
well,
in, so
the
I don't know
council
what
never
happened
really
there.
pushed half of those things to us, to be honest. That's the problem when you put role play bodies in charge of things that are not like out of character vetted and like with those resources, like they can't do the job, right? To the level that a staff would, because players start to hold them accountable as if they are the server mechanism or the community, and that's just not the way it is.
No, of course. And I just wanted to apologize for screeching at your stream the other day when my mic was fucked up.
Oh, that was you?
What is funny about this? I don't understand.
Yeah, all good, my friend. I was more worried that like you were someone bandivating or something, so I had a full investigation.
Yeah, one of the
I'll be honest with you.
members,
You got full investigated probably from that. I won't lie.
Yeah, one of the staff members messaged me, told me to jump in waiting for support. So
yeah, all good.
Oh,
They're
big
just making
Seth.
sure that
Fuck
everything
that
was on
guy.
the up and up. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your question.
You guys.
Hope you have a great day.
Have a wonderful day.
What the fuck is you laughing
Okay,
at?
Candy, you had a question.
I had two questions. Where do we apply for the event?
Just
team
in
stuff?
time. What's that sound?
And if you had any idea if there was going to be an EMS upgrade to like the systems and how many population is in the server?
Yeah, absolutely.
Every time EMS is on, it's very low pop, unfortunately, and like there's always a ton of people in the hospital.
Yeah, well, I think what needs to happen is probably their EMS should open up a conversation in the EMS thread in the government Discord and maybe talk about the population issues and how we can improve it. I haven't noticed so much, but I did notice a couple times that when I was shot down, there's no EMS around recently, which was weird to me, especially in prime time. As for the event coordinator, if you go to the announcements, you can scroll up to the last post and there's a call for staff there, and you just select events out of there, and you can do it, or just go to the website.
A follow-up for the lawyer thing, most people, like for public defenders especially, when you go down to the cells, you don't expect your client to pay, and it's normally just like one of those exposure things, I guess you could say, for lawyers, at least from what I'm aware of in most servers I've played in. When you go down to the cells, you don't expect your client to pay. So like if there's a way to like, I don't know, give them like some sort of like,
when did we turn into communist Los Santos?
I don't know.
Like that's just weird to me that they don't pay their lawyers on most servers. I don't know. I think that's maybe
criminals are in the negative too, so that might not.
Well, I know a lot of the lower tier criminals, but the higher tier criminals are all like they have tons of money, right? And or they have club funds to pay for that. Like most gangs have like a gang account where they should be paying for lawyers and like getting like this is the thing I like to see from gangs is like put a lawyer on retainer. You know, like they're struggling out here. Put the lawyer on retainer, pay them out of like your group funds and stuff. Like that's role play.
I
know?
think the argument is if they're getting paid for having their client get shipped to jail, they should get paid for their client walking free. I think that's what the argument
Yeah,
is
but that's a
there.
bad faith argument. That's like
That's
we're
true.
making sure that you get paid if people
They
are
should
put
just
away
be getting
because they're
paid by
being
their
hit with such a
clients
big
regardless.
fine, right? Like the reality is like this is a role play server, and I do require people to role play.
Just like in real life. I
Right,
mean,
like,
you want a lawyer, you got to pay
And
a
I
fucking
haven't heard an
retainer
argument
fee.
yet that says like, hey,
And then when you meet
know,
with them, you have to
the
pay
problem here
fucking
is that
per
they
whatever
can't
hour
do it
you're fucking
because of a
chatting or
mechanical
whatever.
issue. It's they get paid. Well, you get paid for sending me. It sounds like the criminals are just being fucking cheap, and maybe the criminals should role
But
play better.
you can get a
maybe
free
people should start
lawyer, right?
reporting
Yeah, true.
criminals who are
Public
doing this
defenders.
type
I
of
forgot
shit.
about that. Good point.
Okay. I just wanted to follow up with that one as well. But thank you so
Good
much.
point. Good point.
Yeah, no
chat.
problem. Thank you. South?
Yeah, hi. Really excited for the prison update. So that's gonna be a good one. I do have 67 pages of arrest, so I'm excited for that.
Oh, here we go.
Are we as far as like solvent on the island? You know, like are we? Because listen, Ravage, I'm showing up 210. You know what I mean? Gone, wiped, out of there. See you later. Is this just a race to who gets to the island first? You know, because like a guy like me can't afford a helicopter. I got $6,000 in my account. You know, I mean, and
For solvent drops out of the new drug runs and out of trap houses. I'll just tell it to you straight up.
no, I knew
It's
that
pretty-
already. I knew that in city. But is
Okay.
is that enough? You know, is that like enough? I
It should
understand
be.
keeping it like controlled. But like if you factor it in, Ravage, you were talking about 8 bricks a day, right? Per 24-hour span. More or less, right? Maybe 10, I guess, with trap houses in total. But if bro, why these guys trying to
I mean,
Dude,
listen,
it can't even be me, you know?
if there is a drop problem with solvent and we need to put more solvent to kickstart the cocaine economy and bring the cocaine cost down, because right now 10K a brick is inaccessible for a lot of the gangs on the server. I'm going to be honest, like having to pay 10K for 20 of those, basically 20 cocaine is too high. The thing is, if it's inaccessible because there's not enough solvent supply and that's the backlog that's hurting things, I am very willing to work with Smashny here to up those drops.
Well, yeah, I mean, I understand keeping it kind of like delegated, right? I mean, keeping it low, so you're just not pushing a lot out into the streets. But I feel like
No, we want
to.
We want
I
to.
mean, if you want to, I feel like having that store. This, you know, listen, you guys know better than I do. I'm just kind of speaking freely. I feel like if you can have that guy reset his inventory a few times in the day, would be beneficial. Because then it's not like a race to the island right at 2 p.m. You know, because if you don't get there by 2:10, you're seeing a black frogger out of there, gone, never to be seen again. You know what I mean? So it's like, if you guys want to open it up, maybe having that shop like refresh, like once or twice a day. Because even if you do it twice, Ravage, we're talking about 16 bricks for 24
but
hours.
why not just integrate it into criminal activities where they can get the stuff?
Oh, that too. I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
Too.
let's up the drops on them in general and let's see where it goes. I will get Smashny and Miatek to pull like how many of these have dropped in like the last week, and let's see what happens, right? And maybe we can also do what you're asking as well. Let's look at doing both of those things. I'm okay with that.
I'm finally doing something good. All right.
Yeah,
Nice.
but we
All
are
right.
going to get you.
Where
for
is
your
your
cheating.
proof footage? Where is your proof footage?
We are going to get you for your cheating. We're going to uncover your pro footage with your hacks, and we're going to get you. And you're gonna be gone.
I sent a video to Kay because this guy started the entire. This is literally all his fault. He's trying to run a smear campaign against me. Listen, there's pro footage out there. I asked Rami. I literally had to carry this guy for 3 hours with him nonstop rage baiting me. IRL rage bait, by the way. We're not talking about in-city rage bait. We're talking about IRL rage bait for 3 hours. It was literally the worst thing ever.
Okay. Monkey Whisper is here, so we can talk about numbers.
I'm just kidding, by the way. I wasn't actually mad. Okay, thanks, guys. I'll see you later. See you
Okay.
soon.
Bye.
So those asking
Bye.
about the PRP chat club, I'm asking for them to extend it here. I think we started the community meeting a little late, which made it disconnect. Rami wants to say something as well, and I think let's do that, and then I will let Monkey talk, and we'll go from there. And I'll have probably have the code updated by then.
You guys trying to hit this shit before cops come? Oh, give me 1 second, guys. Yo, hey, Raptor, what's going on?
Bad actor.
Hello?
Not too much. How about you?
Nothing much. So I have a thing about the lawyer stuff from before. I really just wanted to come in here just to shit on Sal.
Fucking
'cause
corn
he's actually
acting.
dog shit at COD, and like, let's be real. I don't know how the fuck this guy thinks he's a pro. You know what I mean? If he's a pro here, then like, Shots is a pro at COD. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's true.
But for the lawyer stuff, I honestly think they just need to go around and get retainers, because like I'm getting retainers for like a bunch of gangs for like 25 to 35K, and I'm having no problems doing that. You know what I mean? So I don't think, I don't know. I don't think there's they need like if they can't afford it, that they should get money for it. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. I really wanted him to be in here to shit talk Ricky Riz, but he already left.
Yeah. Okay. This guy pings me in a DM and be like, yo, I have something to add on this, and then just comes here to shit on it.
Well, I'm just saying.
Okay.
We don't need it, because last time you guys added the mechanic thing, people were farming paychecks. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah, that is true. They were doing that. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
I'll let them, if they can
Ew,
give me a better argument, or yeah, you included as right. Yeah.
I was about to ask, didn't you also do it?
Fuck yeah, dude. Everybody else is doing it. You know what I mean? But yeah, all right, I'll get on out of here. And fuck Skeed. All right, peace out.
I did.
I'm just glad Kevin snitched on them all, so I knew. Okay. Monkey
Wait, what?
Whisper, who's with our partners at 101 servers.
Are you trying to start shit?
To just talk a little bit about the DDoS mitigation and how heavy the attacks have been and what we've mitigated since.
Oh, let's
so
hear.
I think that's important. Go ahead, Monkey.
Hi. Thank you. I wasn't ready to speak to that, but I'll say a few words that are in giving out some secrets
Did I snitch?
to our attackers.
Oh,
But,
the Suarez shit.
I mean, Prodigy has been under heavy attack for the past now 2 weeks, almost 3. It first started with just Prodigy's IPs, and the first few days it was being handled somewhat, and at least Cosmic Guard, our current previous provider, was attempting to actively mitigate the attacks. But once the attacks ramp up to the caliber that they did, which was up to 2.5 terabytes per second, they had to essentially choose to start null routing, which is blacklisting or blocking IPs, because at that point it was affecting not just us, our network, our customers, and then it was just trickling down to their customers. And then if it started in Ashburn, Virginia, then it was just going to the next location and the next location and the next location, because Cosmic Guard has an Anycast network, which essentially where the attack is closest coming from is where it starts to get mitigated. So if the attack is originating from Russia and you don't have enough capacity to handle the attacks in the closest location, which is, for example, London or Amsterdam, then all of those attacks are going to overwhelm the network, and eventually it will congest the network. So obviously at that point, unfortunately, Cosmic Guard wasn't able to keep up with the huge amount of terabytes. And I have to say, Cosmic Guard is a great partner for DDoS protection. They have been excellent. They have worked with us. We are very happy with them. However, this was just unfortunate because they are not keeping up with this amount of attacks. They are in the process of upgrading their infrastructure to be able to handle these attacks, but obviously that takes time. It's not switch. There's orders that needs to be made with the internet providers, etc. So right now we are running through a bigger, more established provider, which is G-Core. They have been able to essentially handle these massive volumetric attacks, which are just yesterday. We filtered, funny number here, 69.64 terabytes of traffic. And that was just in under an hour. So these attacks are causing, for example, I see you guys saying like handshakes or the Curl 56 or the Curl 52.
That's crazy.
essentially what those are is like silent challenges to the user that says, "Are you real?" And that's why sometimes you have to click more than once to be able to say, "Yes, I'm real. Let me in. I am a real connection." And that's why sometimes players are having to connect 5-6 times to say, "Hey, look, yeah, I passed the check. Let me through." And the reason for that is because Gcore doesn't have a correct layer 7 method authentication. They just don't have it. It's not a product that they have. And when we got on board with them 2 weeks ago, they didn't have it, and they told us that that wasn't something in their roadmap. However, as of yesterday, because they're kind of
How much-
now trial by fire and they're eating all these attacks, they have told us that they are going to start working on it.
How much does an
And
attack
it is
like that
something
cost,
that
chat?
now is being actively worked on, so that when an attack comes in,
Unless
you
someone
don't
just
have
has
to challenge
access
and
to that
players
type
are
of
not
weapon.
getting disconnected, etc. And it's not just Prodigy; it's a lot of our
200K?
other big servers too that we service that are getting
With how frequent it is?
DDoS and attacked. And then from other providers too in the hosting industry for 5M are also getting attacked. They're also being
200K
having
for what?
packet
Just that
loss.
1 hour?
So
What
it's
are we
not
talking
just
here?
Cosmic Guard. Now you have all the other providers too that are
That doesn't
also
sound
under
right.
attack,
It's
and
way too much.
it has been a very weird space for the past 2 to 3 days for not just Prodigy, like I said, but for many other providers too.
Oh,
But
and then they're good?
we
Like
couldn't
it's
even
all-
update our status page on our website, and I think that was something that it really hurt us, because we are really open about communication and
Damn.
what's going on, and we like to update our status. We like to provide accident reports. So when we were doing that, the attackers was using the information we were giving our customers to then attempt to bypass those protections that we have for what we were doing at that time. So we just had to be like, you know what, we can't say anything, and we have to go radio silent. And that was really difficult to do that. Obviously, not the case with Prodigy and a few of our other customers, because we have enterprise level support where they're in a private group chat with us and they're not relying on tickets. But still, it was
My
really
point is
difficult to
the
do so.
size of this is probably someone not
It's
paying
being
for it.
worked
It's just
on.
probably someone with
I
access
don't
to it,
have,
no?
hey, look, all
Does
this
that
issue
make any
will be
sense?
resolved
I
by
don't know
then,
about this
because
shit.
I haven't been provided up. But as soon as I know, I'll let Ravish and the team know. But yeah, that's kind of what has been going on for the past few weeks, unfortunately.
That's crazy
And
expensive
it
if
really
what you guys
sucks.
are
And
saying
look,
is true.
I'm sorry. And we're trying everything we can. I mean, our team is barely sleeping, and Ravish knows that. But yeah, we are trying, and everything that we're doing is to accommodate everybody. So I'm sorry that this is happening, but we have to keep swimming and continue to just get past these difficult times.
Okay. Well, perfect. Thank you very much. We appreciate all the hard work for you guys to help with this. I know it's been a lot of long nights for you and our dev Miatek mostly, and I appreciate the hell out of you guys. So thanks a lot. The community thanks you, and yeah, I
Thank
appreciate
you.
the explanation. It's good
Yeah,
for people to
absolutely.
hear it, not from me, so they don't think it's just a talking piece bullshitting, and to hear it from the guy who's dealing with it. So I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, it's a clean battle, but we're gonna win it. But just know next time servers do go down, blame AJ. That seems to be the common. You know,
Yeah, AJ's the fucking guy
common
doing
win.
it. He's over there dancing. Someone
they can
post the
blame
AJ
AJ.
emote in there. He's
Yeah.
over there fucking doing his
Yeah,
Blame
blame
him.
AJ. I agree. Blame
All right,
AJ.
guys. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you
Appreciate
so
it.
much.
dropping bombs on the
Okay.
server.
All right, folks. Okay, let's end off with a couple of last pieces. I'm being asked about the racing scene. I've taken a number of pieces of feedback, and we're going to integrate the racing scene a little bit to be able to contribute to the next faction
Ooh.
season. I can't get into too much. In the next community meeting, we'll do that. I'll try to do one in the next couple of weeks. The big things to end with. We have launched our own Reddit that will be managed by the TLDR team, which is a pretty good group of people, I think, that has a pretty good reputation around. We want it to be a good space where people can share clips, good times about Prodigy, all that stuff. We were able to reclaim the Reddit.com /r/ProdigyRP.
Oh, didn't even
Things
know
I
that.
want to be really clear on. We won't allow like fire starting against the streamers or people in the community. What we will allow, however, is fair criticism. We're fine with that. I'm fine with that. And I think that's healthy. And constructive criticism, completely okay. And talking about things, completely fine. As long as it doesn't go to the level of like fire starting against individual community members and stuff like that. I think that's the only thing we really care about is just it being criticism, being respectful. It's I think it's good for the community to be able to have something like this. I will say though that if one thing I want to clarify, and this goes with seeing a lot of community members replying to like YouTube clip channel comments, or trying to respond to shit in people's Twitch chats, trying to respond to stuff on Reddit, like engaging in like weird arguments and like trying to start arguments with people, or
people love to get weird on
trying
Reddit.
to weigh in on like clips they're mentioned in. Like that stuff, we probably will ban you for that. I want to be really clear because that shows like an obsessive type of. It shows
What
you're
did you
being
say?
too obsessed over the roleplay that's happening on the server in general. You should just ignore that stuff if you're playing on the server. And I want that to be really clear: is that we don't want to see that stuff.
Oh, drama
It
react
looks really
content?
unprofessional and bad for the server. So, but yeah, we've launched the Prodigy Reddit. Thanks a lot to Chad. He's been great. But yeah, I'll just link it here. Just to say it again,
I agree with that.
PRP Chat Club, I'm going to get that re-enabled, and I will ping everyone again in a little bit when that's going to be active. I'll do a full announcement across the Discord for everyone.
Yeah, if you're involved with the situation directly,
if you guys can,
okay.
because like
But if
a
you're
lot
out
of
there
people
just
won't
like
be watching the
constantly
stream after this. But thank you guys so much. I think there's so much exciting stuff
drama
to look
farming
forward
other
to.
situations that
Love
nothing to
you
do with you,
guys.
that always gets a little bit.
I'm
fucking-
really excited to be making a lot of really cool shit with you. So as I said before, people want to do COC shit. People want to make really cool events and all of that. People who want to come and be a part of the staff team, or people want to come and make really cool 3D shit for Prodigy. My DMs are open on Twitter, X now, on Discord, wherever. You can apply on the website. You can do any of those methods, and I'm looking. I'm really excited to be building this stuff out and to bringing Prodigy all the way to GTA 6 and maybe beyond. Let's see what happens. All right. Talk to you guys later.
Okay.
Bye.